Hello neighbor, Alicia Dolan here at Creating in My Corner. I'm so glad that you could join me for tonight's free card class. Just a quick word about the way this works. So 2 Sundays a month I come here live with a card class for you. Sometimes it's one card, sometimes it's two cards, sometimes it's a paper project. It could be any number of things. I don't plan it out very often ahead of time, and so I don't know always where we're going. We're just creating together, kind of on the go. Last time we were together, we made this card. Sorry, there's a little glare. We made this card. And I have not got the directions together yet for that. But since then, I have also made this card. And so the way this works is I show you how to make both cards. Well, usually two cards. Sometimes it's only one. Last time it was just the first one. And that took us quite a while. So if we go over about an hour, then generally I will stop, but I will still send you, if you order with the month's host code, I will still send you the free card kit that goes with the class. So then you can go back and watch the video, and I also will email out a PDF with all the measurements and instructions that you might need to make those cards on your own. So that is the first option. The other option is if you place a qualifying order using the host code that is posted in the description this week, I hope that's what my intent was. Then you can come to my in-person card class and make 8 cards for free. So the reason there's a little bit of a difference there is because when I put those cards kits together for free and mail them out to you, there's a shipping charge and packaging materials and all kinds of extra stuff that goes into that. But when you come to in-person class, you get to make a couple extra cards. And there's obviously no shipping fee for that. And you can RSVP for my classes. The other option to come in person is you can pay a fee of $25 instead of placing an order and still have the card class. So we are going to turn our camera, I'm going to turn the camera down and get started, but you'll still be able to see me up here in the corner if you want to. And if you comment and let me know, like, do you appreciate seeing me while I'm crafting, or would you rather just see the table? That is fine too. Anytime you have comments or suggestions, I will take them into consideration. So let me turn this camera around. I feel like I'm finally getting at least a reasonable handle on my technology lately. So I wanted to show you really quick the cards from this month's card class. So if you would come in person, I did have a few people come and they got to make these cards. I just wanted to share them with you real quick because 2 of them we're actually going to copy for tonight. So this card we made at card class, You're Such a Blessing, and this used the Grateful Blessing stamp set. I have them down here next to me. That's why I'm reaching aside. Grateful Blessings. And this one is so cool. It's got a lot of great sentiments on it. So we used that for that card. And we made 2 of these really cute Birdhouse cards. This one says, "Hello, friend." And this one is one of the ones we're going to copy tonight, and it says, "Happy birthday." And this one here we're also going to copy tonight as long as we have enough time. And this one says, "Happy anniversary." So the bird card actually is made using this Country Birdhouse stamp set and the Country Birdhouse dies. We're going to start with that one because I feel like it's going to take us the longest. There is a lot of die cutting we need to do. And so we're going to start with that card first. So first what you'll need is a piece of crumb cake cardstock, and this is just a piece of cardstock 8.5 by 11 that's cut in half and then scored here again in half, and we're just gonna fold that. So it's actually, this piece is 8.5 by 5.5 and it's scored at 4 1/4. So if you're following along, that is the size card base you need. And if you know a little bit about me and my crafting, you know back here next to me, I have a little stack that I pre-cut and score a few of my basic card bases so that when I'm crafting in a hurry, which happens every once in a while, I can just grab one, create a quick card, and be on my way. So this is our card base, and then next we need a layer right here, and this is Pebbled Path. So there's several different gray colors that you can choose from. I feel like this one is, it's a little bit of a brown gray. Okay, so we're going to need a piece of that. And just to do a quick measurement, I haven't written the tutorial for this yet, so I don't have the measurements memorized. This is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So we are going to put this right in our trimmer at 5 1/8. And then we can put it at 3 7/8. Next we need a piece of basic white, and I'm going to try to save our die cutting and embossing just for the end so that when we get the die cutting machine out, I can show you how we're going to run those through. My die cutting machine is not the current Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It's the Sizzix Big Shot, which Stampin' Up used to sell but doesn't carry anymore. All right, so next we need a piece of basic white, and we just want a thin border around that. So since our Pebbled Path was 5 1/8 by 3 7/8, we are going to cut this one 5 by 3 1/4. So there's my 5-inch side. And then I'm going to turn it and cut it at 3 1/4. I'm trying really hard tonight to keep my space clear, but I can't promise it's going to stay that way. All right, and we're going to emboss that, but we're going to hold off on that just for a minute so that we can make sure that we get all of the pieces we need to die cut. I also want to show you something that I did with my Pebbled Path to make it a little bit easier. And I'll show you that as we get a little bit closer. So we need a piece of Pebbled Path. We also need a piece of crumb cake. Just kind of a small piece for the bottom of our birdhouse and the rooftop. We need a piece of basic white, which we have over here, and that's going to be for this little scallopy part and for our flowers. And then we need a piece of early espresso, and that's what we're going to stamp our little bird on. So we'll get that out. And then the last, let's see, the last two things we need are a piece of this oxidized paper. So this is called oxidized copper specialty paper. And in this pack, you get 4 12 by 12 sheets of paper, 2 of each color. So you get 2 of this color and 2 of this color that's kind of blue or turquoise or aqua. It's really beautiful in person. Now, when I first saw this in the catalog, I didn't think I needed it, but once I saw it on a Birdhouse, that completely changed my mind. So let's do our stamping first, and then we'll do all of our die cutting. So here's my Stampin' Pierce mat. This is what I'm going to stamp on. I'm going to stamp my bird, and then I need a skinny piece of basic white, which I have right over here. I cut a lot of 4 by 5 1/4 pieces of white, and so I have a lot of these skinny strips left. And we're going to stamp our happy birthday on here. We're going to use the pebbled path. And I'm going to use block H. So from our Country Birdhouse stamp set, we're going to grab the happy birthday. And we're just going to lay it on our block H. Now, I do want to tell you that when you are stamping with words that are skinny like this, they're very skinny. I hope you can see that. You have to be a little extra careful with your stamping. So what you want to do with your ink, let me zoom in a little bit for now so that you can see a little better, hopefully. All right, so here is our ink, and I'll scoot this up a little bit. What you want to do when you're stamping with these real skinny words is you want to hold your block as level as you can to that ink pad, and then you're just going to kind of lay it down on there. You're not going to push it in really hard because these words, oh, I didn't get that on very good, so I'm going to clean it off and start over. Sometimes it's important to clean it off and start over. And I'm actually going to clean my whole stamp here. I'm going to clean the back side too because I feel like it must have got some lint on it. And maybe that's why it's not sticking. All right, so we're going to redo that. We're going to place it down. I don't see any comments yet, or even any that anyone's watching. So I hope that you are, or that you're having a wonderful Father's Day celebration. Okay, so I've got my stamp back on there. I'm going to tap, tap, tap. And I'm only tapping. I am not smooshing. Don't smoosh. And then what we're going to do is lay our words down really carefully. Okay, and even though I was really careful, can you see how those some of those little letters got a smudge mark? And that's okay. I'm going to try it one more time. just to see if I can do a better job. I think I might have tapped a little too much. The foam ink pads that Stampin' Up! Carries are very soft, and sometimes, especially if they're new, the ink really will get on everything. Okay, so we're gonna just lay it down really gentle, and I'm trying to tap it just so that it gets color. And with these, you can see it taking on that color a little bit. So that does, I feel like, make it a little easier to tell. Okay, and then we're gonna lay it down on here. Oh, and I like that one a little bit better. So you can see that I tapped a few too many times, let's see, on that first one, but the second one over here turned out a little bit nicer. Okay, there is that. And I'm going to close up my Pebble Path ink, grab my Early Espresso cardstock. It's a little bit hard to see on there, but it is there. And then my Memento ink pad. And for the little bird, I'm going to use a block B. So I'm going to put that little bird on block B in a way that none of it hangs off the edge, okay? It just looks like that. And then I'm going to stamp on my Early Espresso cardstock. Now, the Memento ink pads are not foam, they're felt, and so when you press down on them, you're going to find your stamps don't smoosh in like they would with the foam pads. You still don't have to push extremely hard. You want to do a lot of gentle tapping to get the best ink coverage. Okay, so here's our, let's see, can you see that little bird? It's pretty cute. Okay, now I'm going to close up my ink because, believe it or not, that's all the stamping we're going to do on this first card. And clean it off, and then the rest of our work is mostly die cutting. So we're going to die cut, and then we're going to put our card together. Oh, I didn't clean out my happy birthday. I do need to do that. Okay. We can put that happy birthday away and put our little bird away. My stamps must be a little bit dirty because they're wandering around inside their case, and they don't usually do that. Trying to figure out where to put things is sometimes tricky, right? I feel like I need a whole, like a whole U shape of tables around me in order to have room for everything. Okay, especially because we're going to be die cutting. So I'm going to zoom back out. There we go. And we're going to start our die cutting. So here's our card base. First, I want to do my embossed layer. So this white I emboss using the layered florals. I'm going to show you that first. And we're going to put our pieces we're going to die cut right here and kind of slide them off to the side, just so we have room for our die cutting machine. It's not exactly small fry. Okay, so here is our die cutting machine, and you'll find as you are die cutting and as you are embossing that for whatever machine you have, you might need a little different sandwich. So for my machine, I have to open this platform up to tab 1. And then I need a little shim. And I got this a long time ago when I got the Big Shot. So I have a whole set of extra little bits that I might need to use here and there. So to emboss, I need the right folder, which is way over here. Okay, this is the Layered Florals embossing folder. And all we need to do is open it up, put our piece of white cardstock in there, and close it down. Now, if you were doing a pattern where your lines mattered, if it had bricks or wood grain or something that you really needed the lines to go one way or other, there's a little line here at the bottom that you can line your paper up so that your image will be nice and straight. So what you're going to do is just put your folder in, and you always want to put it so that the bend goes first. So fold first, like kind of like a duck bill, right? So this part goes first. And that's the way that you're most likely to take good care of your embossing folders so that they won't break. If you run them in the other end first, they could break. So then we're just going to crank it through. It's going to shove around all the papers on the other side. And what we have when it comes out the other side is this beautifully embossed piece. So we're going to set that aside. That will be our next thing that we put together. And now we'll start our die cutting. So for my machine, I don't need the shim when I die cut. What I need are 2 clear plates. So I use the same one all the time on the bottom and the same one all the time on the top, because the bottom one will get all the cut marks in it and the top one will stay relatively smooth. And the reason I do that is because if you use this one with all the cut marks on the top instead of on the bottom, those cut marks will actually transfer to your paper. So first we are going to cut out our birdhouse pieces. So we need 1 full birdhouse out of our designer series paper. And for that, we are going to use this cut here. And we place it cut side down. So flat side up, cutting side down. We're going to put a clear plate on top and crank it through. Now this will shake my table a little bit, so just so you know as you're watching, there's no earthquakes here. I'm just shaking the table. Here is our birdhouse, and we can set this aside and put the birdhouse back. Now, next we're going to do our crumb cake layer, and that's going to be, we're going to need this roof here, this little bottom part of the birdhouse, and 2 little leaves. So in general, I try to get all of the things in one swoop if I can. Sometimes you can't do that because your pieces will move around a little bit, but I try really hard to not have to run more through than I absolutely need to. All right, so there's the top, the bottom, and then we need our little leaves. Okay, so we're gonna put all three of those in there. And then when I go to run them through to try and stop them from moving around, I try to make sure that I hold both sides of the plate and lower it down as level as I can. And usually, once you pinch those pieces together, then they won't move out of the place that they're in. Because you don't want them to slide around and overlap each other because they will break. I don't see any comments yet tonight. I hope that I really am live, like it says that I am. And that if you're not watching now, you can watch later. I really think these are cool cards, and the ladies who came to class really like them too. So hopefully you are making them with me, or you can make them later. All right, we're going to run through one more leaf. Okay, we have our two leaves, our top, our bottom. Now we need our piece of basic white. And we can do this little scallopy part of the roof. And a couple little flowers. And I did 3, so we'll have to run our smaller flower through twice. Okay, so again, you're going to lay them cut side down. Lower your top plate, pinch them together, and then crank them through. Just like that. Okay, here is our little scallop. And our first little flower. And I found with this second little flower, my pieces tend to get stuck. So what I like to do is take my Stampin' Pierce, take your pick tool, and see how it has this little pointy end? I just use that pointy end to poke in the little holes and then pull it out. All right, we need one more flower, little flower, so I'm going to leave my take your pick tool out. And we'll put this down and run it through. And this will be our last little flower. And we're going to take our take your pick tool and just poke that little bit out. And there's our flowers. Now we have one more piece we need to cut. And we still have to die cut our little bird. This next piece I want to show you is this teeny skinny piece right here. You see that little piece that's stuck in there? This is what the die looks like. Okay, so anytime I am using a really skinny die like this that I know is going to be hard to attach to my project, you can use green glue on it a little teeny bit, but chances are, even if you use a teeny tiny bit, it's probably going to overlap and you're probably going to get sticky. So what I like to do instead is take the piece that I'm going to be cutting my die out of And on the back, attach one of our adhesive sheets. And I've already done this on this one. The adhesive sheets come in a pack that looks like this. And so you get 12 of these long adhesive sheets. You can use them for all kinds of things. But I really like them for when I'm doing any kind of skinny die cuts that I need to attach together. So I've already put, and you peel off the backing on one side and it just sticks on. Now when I run this through, it turns my piece into a sticker so that I don't have to use adhesive on it. So now we're going to run that through. And I like to run my dies through a certain way. If it's kind of a square shape, I like to put a corner first. I just feel like that's what works best for me. It doesn't make that loud snapping noise usually, and I don't feel like my dies are going to break that way. Okay. So now I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool again because this is a really skinny one. And I don't want to try to dig in there with my nail to get it out. So there is that. And that is all the pieces for our birdhouse. But we still need to cut out this little bird that we die cut, and then we can put everything together. So we'll take this little bird die. I know you can see me struggling to line it up. I like it to be really as close to perfect as I can get it. Some people might say I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Not about everything, but definitely about crafts. Okay. There is our little bird. And see how cute that cuts him out? He's just so cute. I don't know if you can see him or not. Oh, he tried to fly away. Isn't he cute? Okay, we'll set him aside. I'm going to put my dies away. And we are going to assemble our card. Okay. I heard that rolling across the table and I wasn't sure what was going on. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. First, I'm going to put these pieces together and put them on my card. So I'm turning over this embossed white, and I'm going to add my liquid glue. And what I like to do is do a thin line. You can get it to come out. This must not be the one I used. Okay. A thin line around the edge. And I'm going to leave a space for my finger so I can turn it over. And then I always do a squiggle down the middle. That is my favorite way to make sure I get the right amount of green glue. Now, its name is not green glue, and it's not actually green, but I do call it that because of the color of its cap. It's actually Tombow let's see, what does it say? Tombow Mono Multi-Liquid Glue. So I really like this glue for all kinds of projects, not just cards. It's a strong glue, but it does give you just a little bit of wiggle room before it dries. Okay, so there is our layer, and we're going to put that directly on our card. So we're going to do the same thing with the liquid glue that we just did with the embossed white. We're going to do a thin line around the edge and a squiggle down the middle. And then we're going to put that right on the front of our card in the center. Okay, and just like that. Okay, and now we're going to put our little house together. So first, I'm going to put my little scallop piece on. I'm going to use my liquid glue again, and now I'm going to be really careful with it this time. So I'm only going to do a nice thin line around the top, especially because it's going to be a little trickier to hang on to than my other piece. Now, on your birdhouse, right here and right here, you're going to see a little notch where your scallop pieces will line up pretty much perfectly. So you're just going to line those up and then press it down just like that. All right, and then we can take this really skinny piece that we turned into a sticker with our adhesive sheets and peel that back off, just like that. And same thing, there's a little notch right here where we can line it up. And then press it down. Okay, so then it looks just like this so far. Now, with our roof, we are going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals. And I used these mini ones. Okay, can you see how small they are? So I put one mini one at the very top. And if you're careful, these will line up inside the lines of your roof. So they won't, if you're careful, they won't hang over so that you see them from the other side. Okay, peel off the back. I just realized I forgot something. So we have to go back a step, right quick. We wouldn't have to, but we are going to. Okay, I'm just going to scoot these out of the way before I go any farther. Because it's still fairly flat, I could still get it through my die cutting machine. So what I forgot was, in the center of this birdhouse, there's supposed to be a little hole so that the bird can go into the house. And in our dies, we have this little circle piece. So I'm just putting that right here on my birdhouse, kind of in the center. And we're going to run that through and cut out that little circle. I feel like I always forget at least one thing that I mean to do. Whoop, uh-oh. I don't want to lose my dies. Okay, I'm just going to put that away real quick. And it does cut out this pretty little circle and a little dot. I don't know. I haven't figured out exactly what to do with those yet, but they are pretty cool. Okay. So now, as we're putting together our little house, we do need a 1-inch circle. Now, if you don't have a 1-inch circle punch, you could use a little square and it would work just the same. I just used a circle because it's really easy just to punch that little circle. So with our little circle, we're just going to turn this over, put a tiny bit of glue around the opening of our birdhouse, just like that. And then we can put that circle behind there. So that it looks like there's a hole into our birdhouse where our little bird can fly in and out. And we can continue putting it together. We're going to add this top part for the roof that we've already put our dimensionals on. Oops. Like that. We're going to add the bottom the same way with some little dimensionals. Like this, like that, and like this. And we can stick that on the bottom. And then we can put our flowers on. So to put these on, I took my leaves and I just put a little dot of glue on the back. So like right here on the stem, I just put a little glue and then stuck it where I wanted it to go. Same thing with your other little leaf, just a little bit of glue. And then you can stick it where you want it to go. It just said that my battery is running low on my second camera. So we'll see if we can get through the whole thing. We may not get to the second card, you guys. It's okay. I will do it the next time if we don't get it done tonight, because there's something cool that I wanted to show you about it. Now with our little flowers, I'm looking for my glue dots. I know I used them. So I brought them down here and I put them, I put them someplace where I would remember them, right? Okay, and then we're just gonna pick up a couple little flowers. I put one kind of out here on the edge. And the other little one I put up here on the roof. I just thought it looked really cute there. And then I put the last one up on a dimensional. And same thing, if you're a little bit careful with it, you can get that dimensional in the center and it's just the right size that you won't see it from the front. And we're going to stick it on here. All right, and then we're going to stick that to the front of the card and we're going to use dimensionals. So we're going to turn it over and put our dimensionals on the back. Okay, we can peel the backs off. I love these dimensionals. I think they make card making so cool. Okay, we're going to put our birdhouse on like that. We're going to add our little bird, and I want to show you something with the little bird because we've already got our birdhouse on dimensionals, and this is on what would basically be 2 sets of dimensionals. We're going to put 2 dimensionals on the back of our bird so that it's level with the bottom of our birdhouse. So we're going to put on one, peel off the back, and put a second one right over top, just like that. Now we could add some glue to the feet of our bird to make sure it sticks, but I'm pretty sure it's going to stay just fine. So we're going to stick it right there. And then we need our happy birthday. And we're going to cut one end at an angle. Actually, maybe we'll cut both ends at an angle. And I'll try to cut them similar. I don't know if I eyeballed that right or not. It may be crooked, but it looks okay to me. So we're just going to stick that across. And so I'm going to put a dimensional on the very edge of each side, just to hold it above the birdhouse. Okay, and then we can put our happy birthday on there. Kind of want the bird to be in front. It got a little close. It's a little closer than my first one. Okay, and then we are going to take some linen thread from right over here. And we're going to tie a double bow. And really what that is just 2 layers of thread in the bow. So the way I like to do that is I take my thread and fold it in half. I'm going to make a loop on one side. And I switch it up. Sometimes I go front to back. Sometimes I go back to front. But this time I'm going to go around the front and in, and I'm just going to pull that, not too tight though, because I like to make it move a little bit before I seal it down. So now that I have a bow that I'm fairly happy with the size, I'm going to tighten it. I try not to tighten it first because of the way that the thread is twisted, the bow will twist up. And I like my loops to be loopy, not twisty. Okay, there's that. I'm going to throw away the rest of that because there's really not enough left. anything else. Then I'm going to put my bow on a mini glue dot, and I'm going to attach it to the top of my birdhouse like that. Now I can add some rhinestones. Okay, so I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to grab a big rhinestone for my big flower here, and I'm going to use little rhinestones for my little flowers. I really think the Take Your Pick tool makes it easy. So if you don't have one of these, one end is sticky stuff, like that tacky stuff you used to use to hang posters to your wall. And the other end is either this pointy bit, or you can turn it around and it's like a little tiny spatula. So depending on what you're doing, it comes in really handy for all kinds of crafty machinations. Is that word? I feel like that's the word. I'm not 100% sure though. And then what I did last was I added some Wink of Stella to my little bird. Now you might not be able to see this, but I'm going to try to do it so that you can. I know you can't really see the lines, but I added Wink of Stella here to the bird's wing. It's not being as sparkly as I want it to, but I think you can see it shimmering a little bit there. So I added Wink of Stella to the wing. I know I already said that. I just repeated myself. And then I put a little bit on the tail feathers, a little bit on the belly, and then a little on the top of it. Now, I don't know how much the person who gets this is going to be able to see that little sparkly bits, but it really makes me happy just knowing it's there and knowing that they might notice. And that is our first card for tonight. I don't see, I still can't tell that anyone is online with me. I hope that I'm live and that you can see me. But I haven't seen any comments at all. So I think that we will stop there for tonight. And the next time that I go live with you, I'll show you how to make this card here, because I'm really excited to show you how to color this flower. I use a blender pen and an ink pad, and I have done that before, so there's probably a video where I've already demonstrated that, but I always think it's fun to go back to those things and remind everyone that you can color in a lot of different ways. Coloring is one of my favorite things. So if you ever have questions about colors or you want to see some coloring done, just let me know, and I am happy to do that with you. That it will be our card for tonight, and I will get to work on my tutorials and emails and sending those out. If you want to come into my next in-person class, it'll be July 19th. I don't know yet what the designs are for that, but this is what I'm planning. I love this little stamp set with these peas. This little grumpy pea, I don't know why, but he's my favorite, that little grumpy pea. So if you are around in July, I'll be live the 1st and the 3rd Sundays in July with a video. And then if you want to come to my in-person card class, I would be really happy to have you. Make sure that you RSVP so that I know you're coming, because I prepare everything in advance. So like all these little die cuts, I cut for you. The only thing that you have to do is you have to stamp and put your card together when you come to in-person class. I am so glad that you're here with me tonight. I hope that you are. I don't see any comments or likes, or I don't see anything tonight, but I'm still hoping that you're there. Having a wonderful Father's Day. It's been a beautiful day, and I hope that you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Until next time, neighbor, happy stamping.